Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, this is Bigfoots Pad Paranormal Radio Show. We are broadcasting here tonight at 1 a.m. from Las Vegas, Nevada. And on the line I have Jeremy, also known as King Sasquatch, and Tim, also known as King Gray, and I myself, Mothman Warrior. How are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good. How about you, Nick?
Doing very well. Tonight's show is about aliens and UFOs, and we will also be hosting an open line later on in the show.
All right, let's get this thing started here.
Ready to rumble.
First, let's start off tonight's show with alien UFO crashes. How would you want to go first here, Tim?
Sure. Well, I must say my favorite UFO case of all time is probably the Aurora 1897 UFO crash. Because of the time period in general, there was no chance of government conspiracies or anything at the time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that.
But yeah, my favorite story of all time. In case those of you guys that don't know about it, it happened in 1897. It crashed into I believe it was like a farm, like what do you call it? Like farm, what do you call it? Like a water tower. Yeah, it crashed, and anyways, once it crashed, the people called it a spaceship, and they came to see what it was, and they found like an alien body that was a little burnt up in the crash. And I know they brought it to the Aurora cemetery and actually gave it like a Christian burial. And then back in then I believe it was the 1970s, people came to try to dig up the body, and I guess people had actually moved it or dug it up before, and pretty sad, but still, it was my favorite UFO case just because of the time period and everything.
Yeah, it definitely is unprecedented in the history of UFO crashes because there could have been no government cover-ups in that period of time.
Exactly.
I know
the government. All right, go ahead.
I know the most interesting has to be Roswell, though, by far. I mean, there's just so many eyewitness accounts, and it goes down in history there. In case you guys don't know what Roswell is, in the summer of 1947, a UFO supposedly crashed near the town of Roswell, New Mexico. It's kind of in the Santa Fe area in Albuquerque. But anyways, there was a farmer that late at nighttime, he heard a UFO crash late at night. They seen it out their window. They seen an explosion. They didn't really think anything of it. They thought it was just lightning striking the ground. But then the very next day or a couple of days later, the same farmer was herding his sheep, and he actually found UFO wreckage with 4 alien bodies. And the farmer's name was Mac Brazel, and Mac Brazel went into town, and he was talking about the UFO crash. And I guess he called the National Guard, and they ended up calling the military, and because they started going up above the chain of command in the military. And then I guess they figured out it was UFO wreckage, and the rest is just history.
Yeah.
Of Nick and Tim elaborate on some of the Roswell.
Jeremy's the Roswell expert. He has dreams about Mac Brazel and Roswell at night.
Can I talk about some of the cover-ups, Tim?
Yeah. Oh.
Well, for Roswell?
Yeah, I could.
Well, there are just so many cover-ups for Roswell. They're almost ridiculous. Like, they first said it was just like a weather balloon, but quite frankly, the wreckage doesn't look like a weather balloon. Then they claimed that the bodies were dummy or high-altitude parachute dummies, which weren't even invented until 1953, and this happened in 1947, which I don't know why they would take such care in trying to cover it up. Let's see. There's also they even tried to say it was another type of weather balloon called Project Mogul, which was a high-altitude balloon that was stuffed with the equipment to try to spy on Russians, like Russian intelligence agencies and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I know the most about UFOs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The government always tries to clumsily cover things up. I mean, how many times did they change the story, Tim, over Roswell?
At least 5 times here.
5 or 6 times.
Weather balloons and experimental aircraft and this and that. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, if it was supposedly a weather balloon, why do they keep changing their story so much? And also, Mac Brazel himself even said that they forced him to go on the radio and say that it wasn't a UFO crash. And
yeah,
that was, what, the very next day?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the government's lying. Again.
Yeah. I'm going to slide on to another topic, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we touched upon this briefly the other night, but on August 1st, you are well aware that there was a UFO crash out in the desert near Needles.
Yeah, right near Las Vegas.
Right near Las Vegas, which is a little more local for us and a little more in the present times. And the government also has come in and covered that up as well, of course. An eyewitness. An eyewitness came in and described large black trucks, or a large black truck with a giant dome on the back and some limousines with tinted windows, and they came and surrounded the area, and some men in black suits came out and picked up the wreckage, threw it in the truck, and scooted it out of there as fast as they could.
Yeah, I heard that there was also military personnel, and I heard the immediate cover-up story was that it was a meteorite.
Yeah.
After all, the government wants a meteorite that badly.
A meteorite, yeah. Okay, come on.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous excuses.
At least make up something believable if you're the government.
Yeah.
I just found a really weird article online. They supposedly found a 4,000-year-old UFO crash in the Grand Canyon. In Flagstaff, Arizona, a team of experts was called in to examine strange debris at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, discovered the wreckage of a UFO that crashed in a mind-boggling 4,000 years ago. The scientists, members of a highly secret joint military task force on UFOs, inspected the craft and found it to be good condition despite its rough landing and incredible age. The relic is made of an unknown metallic substance that emits low levels of radiation, according to leaks from highly placed sources. It was immediately removed from the site and is now in a secret location. Now this is pretty weird.
Yeah, it is. Because again, it's kind of in our backyard again. Or maybe what Flagstaff is, an hour and a half away, 2 hours at the most.
What do you think of this, Nick?
That's definitely intriguing. Again, that would show that UFOs are in existence because there can be no cover-up stories 4,000 years ago. I mean, the cavemen aren't exactly going ooga booga weather balloon.
Exactly.
I know there's plenty of UFO crashes that explain. I mean, like in 1909 in Chicago, a UFO crashed, and people said that a flying craft was crashing into the ground, and we didn't have airplanes then, so how do they know?
Exactly. That's like why I find the Aurora crash just as cool, too.
I know the 40s actually have a lot of UFO crashes. That I know of, there's probably about 5 or 6.
Yeah, that was definitely, from the 40s to the 60s was definitely a heightened period of UFO sightings in U.S. history.
Yep, and then in the 70s, the 40s to the 60s was the most activity, but then in the 70s, there was a lot of actually, the majority of modern day, sightings took place, where people actually could refer to them as, encounters of the first kind and second kind. The 1970s, actually, I think, is another hot time for UFOs.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of sightings.
Definitely, yes.
Oh, man.
And after the hippies showed up, the government started to introduce the hallucination theories.
I know there's been plenty of UFOs that have crash landed and people found bodies. Like in 1948 in Laredo, Texas, a UFO supposedly crashed about 38 miles from, Laredo, Texas. And I guess the UFO was supposedly seen in Chicago the next day. People have seen the trucks carrying it.
Oh,
but
wow.
All the records that I've seen say that it was either on the 7th or 8th of July, I think. And they supposedly found one body, but there's probably more, knowing our government.
Yes, definitely.
See, I know, from what I'm looking at right now, the UFO crash I've seen, there's another Laredo, Texas one, ironically, 5 years later, 1953, which is strange.
Well,
yeah, what are the chances?
Jeremy. Well, here, I was just Googling ancient alien crashes, like you have just mentioned, and it brought up the always interesting theory to talk about. Aliens and the effects they had on ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians and Mayans, how they have found hieroglyphics with things that depict UFOs and aliens in them. You know, how are the pyramids? There's several questions that come into your mind about things like this. Why are those drawings like that, number one?
Exactly.
Breaking news. Vietnam just found this piece of wreckage.
Number two, how did they build those pyramids? They didn't have any tools back then, and how did they stack these large blocks of rock and granite, and, how did they do that? And who made them think of that? And they perfectly align with the stars and everything, like the pyramids of Egypt do that. So do the Mayan pyramids. How did they get everything so precise?
I'm not sure. I think there's two theories. I think aliens might have helped influence it, possibly, or, I don't want to doubt ancient civilizations or anything, but, yeah, their technology, it is amazing for what they did, though.
It's definitely always, like I said, interesting. A lot of questions pop in, and then you can always, that always brings to your mind Star Child. Star Child, for anybody that does not know what it is a skull that was found in Mexico that is believed to be the skull of a half-human, half-alien hybrid child.
I never heard of that, actually.
Yeah, it was found in southern Mexico, I believe.
Yeah, it does not look human. It's got an elongated forehead like an alien does, but it's got human features. But it just doesn't look quite human. It doesn't look quite like an alien. It looks somewhere in the middle. And
It's people with a dirty mind that think like that.
They ran scientific tests on it, and they showed that it has human DNA in it, but there's an unknown DNA also contained within the sample they tested on.
Yeah, I've heard that too, because I find alien hybrids actually pretty amazing. Because I heard here's a theory why aliens actually visit Earth. They say that their species might actually be becoming extinct, maybe. They don't have any ways of mass producing their populations anymore, so they have to have half human DNA. They have to use human females to reproduce.
Yeah.
And they mix it with half their DNA and half ours. Which anything's possible, but
I know, definitely. Can explain.
Yeah,
that could be an interesting theory to explain some things on this planet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I find alien abductions really interesting to follow up on because we get tons of emails and stuff each week about alien abductions.
A lot of people have been abducted.
Yeah, not us. But yeah, one reason they believe they do is for the hybrid program they use, and then another one just I believe they're here to monitor us.
Yeah.
Like Stanton Friedman said,
it's
they're here to
Tim, it's just scary thinking that some of these aliens or alien hybrids might be walking around amongst us.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow. See, you could be watching us right now.
Yeah. But
be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
Yeah, but definitely, always, a lot of questions, a lot of interesting questions are always raised.
Yeah, my theory on why aliens help visit us is not only for the hybrid, I believe it could possibly be because of their hybrid program, but mainly because they're here to quarantine us and watch us, like Stan Friedman said, because our technology is growing so quick in space travel. Like, they're not necessarily threatened of us, but they just want to be protective of their existence and their race. They want to make sure we don't interfere with them.
Yeah. Tim, I don't know, but have you ever heard of the theories regarding Mars? How that it used to be a planet. Mars is very close to our planet in the size and structure. And there's one theory. There's one theory that it was actually presented in the movie Red Planet, I believe. It was made in like 2001 or 2002 or something like that. But there was an ancient civilization there that was like us, that they came to our planet because their planet was dying.
Yep.
And there's a theory out there that we are really descendants of Martians.
I've heard of that too. Like I've heard of that they're actually our creators, because like even against the infamous Ken Friedman that said, like, everybody that's abducted say they looked human-like. When in reality, they don't look like us. We look like them.
Yeah.
They're the ones that have been around longer. Like, that's another theory, like, just to think about.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely a question to ponder.
Because, I mean,
I think King Sasquatch has a topic you might want to bring up.
Yeah, this is regarding the Roswell rocks. People were finding these rocks in Roswell. They have these strange little symbols on them, but they're pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And the first ones were found in 1996 inside of a crop circle. But I guess they were unseen for a long time, and now they're finding more of these things. The ones I'm looking at right now show these strange symbols on these rocks. There's 3 of them. And it says people have offered millions of dollars to buy these things. And it says that actually they're magnetic too, which is odd, counting on they're found in the middle of fields. But I know when people see crop circles, usually they do report magnetics. Because I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but people often report rods, metallic-looking rods in the center of crop circles. We don't know what those are caused by, because only extreme heat could cause these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we have someone on the line, and you're on the air.
Hello, caller.
Hello.
I guess I got disconnected.
Anyways, what were we talking about? Crop circles?
You're talking about the stones found in the crop circles from Roswell.
Yeah. They found these stones stuck in the crop circles.
Well, you see, I'm like kind of an expert on UFOs and everything, but actually that's not just a recent occasion. It's back in, I believe, up until the late 1700s, there's actually been there's been reports of life in fields for, like I said, at least 300 years. But not only that, they've even said back then there was pieces of metal inside, like, flattened crops and everything. Which, how would they have known this modern phenomenon back then?
Yeah.
So it's been around for a while. And, there's just, aliens are definitely here. Like, I don't know if they're amongst us necessarily, but they're monitoring us 24/7 because I think they're worried about our space programs, and because what we could get done in 100 years now may seem phenomenal to us, which is even phenomenal to them too, because 100 years in space time isn't
okay
at all.
Oh, Tim. Sorry for interrupting, but we have 39 minutes remaining. We're going to take a quick 2-minute commercial break, and we will return shortly. We'll leave you all with this one. Okay.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click.
Now we're back on the air. Okay, we're going to start off now.
We have Survivor Radio Cafes on the line right now, and you're live. Hello?
Crap, I guess I should unmute my microphone.
Hello? Oh, yes. That would help a little bit. But welcome to the show.
Hi, I had a question. I was wondering if this came out in the government, what you think it would do to religions around the world.
You mean if they released that aliens and everything were real?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're real, but yeah, I mean, officially announced something. Do you think that there's? Because I was reading the book by Stanton Friedman, Flying Saucers and Science, and apparently there's more to just a cover-up. I mean, there's economical changes and religious factors and all kinds of different factors for why they would not discuss this.
Oh yeah, because what it would do is, like we were talking earlier, it would disrupt our whole theory of evolution and our existence for Christians and everyone. Like, if there are true creators, that would be able to prove that, like, for thousands of years, we really don't know who we are.
If we have another caller on the line, and Diane, you're on the line.
Hello.
Hello? 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 Man, we're dropping calls like crazy tonight. Sorry about that, guys. Our phone service here is got a little screwy here.
Yeah, it's flipping out.
I can't take it anymore!
Oh, man.
Let's call it still on the line?
But yeah, we could keep talking about UFOs and religion.
Yes, definitely. I'm sorry for interrupting on that. Tim?
Yeah, I just think it would disrupt our whole theories of everything, like
Okay,
human
Tim.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can go further elaborate on that for you. Okay, first off, there are religions that do revolve around UFOs. On a Roswell documentary, they have a religion out in Roswell.
We actually have a 734 area code caller on the line right now. And caller, you're on the line.
Hello?
Hello. Welcome to the show.
But you want to talk about the UFOs and religion, Nick?
Yes. So, yes, there is a church that has a theory that Jesus was an alien sent by the aliens to give us some type of a message. And this church believes they know that message. I'm not sure what the message is. I don't know what they teach or any of their prophecies or anything, but I know that they exist. So,
I have heard of that before. They believe in they think there was 2 or 3 different times. One was back in 2005. They believed the UFOs were going to land and take them to their home planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. And they have a whole Bible and everything that dictates that they believe aliens.
And then I don't know Scientology. I'm ignorant on that issue, but Scientology, is that based off any type of alien things? Would you know, Tim?
I don't know. There's a breakup of some kind of Scientology. where I know there's a religion where they believe aliens are inside of our heads controlling us, and but I don't necessarily think it's the most popular church ever. But there is some people that believe aliens control us. There's a little alien inside of each of our minds.
Yeah. So there are religions, and then the second thing I'm going to propose and say that if aliens come out, you know, say the government lets it loose, and it might not totally disprove religion. Who's not to say that God, if you believe in a higher power, to say that a higher power did not create other beings in other planets?
Exactly.
Who's not to say that? I mean, I think maybe the Catholic Church, as you know, all the world's major religions would denounce it, but really,
yeah, because not to be deeply religious in like preach or anything, but they do say in the Christian Bible that God created man after His own image, and for those again back to the theory, if the aliens helped create us, you know, maybe God in a way is an alien.
Yeah.
Like I don't necessarily believe it, but it's a theory that a lot of people bring up.
I mean, here, Tim, I'll just pose this one small little pun to you, this one little thing to ponder on. Okay, so God says He made people in His own image, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so He's made black people, white people, Asian people, Mexican people, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
They all look different. So which one looks like God? So who's not to say a gray doesn't look like God or a reptilian doesn't look like God?
Exactly. I don't know. It's like I don't necessarily believe it because I'm a Christian, but you know, like it's a major theory that goes around.
I'm a Catholic as well. So.
Now in the chat room, Survivor Radio, they actually did bring up a good point. They said, I think God is so brilliant that He very well would create more than just us.
Exactly.
But if there are aliens and there is a heaven, does that mean that there are multi-heavens, or do we all go to the same heaven when all of us die?
You see, that's a really good question.
Yes, very good. Well,
you never know.
Well, if you look at Scripture, it only talks about one heaven, one kingdom. So I assume we'd all go to the same heaven. Because in Scripture, with Scripture, the only thing we have to go off of on God is it refers to one kingdom, one heaven.
Yeah.
So we would all go to the same heaven. Therefore, my logic tells me.
Oh, man.
Well, you see, there's also a theory that aliens aren't even necessarily like us. They're creatures from a different dimension, too, is what I've heard.
Oh, yeah, they come from parallel universes?
Yeah, I've heard that, too.
Yeah, dimensions, universe. I mean, it can get confusing because then they start saying they come from a parallel dimension, which is another universe, and this and that. It's like, oh.
But yeah, it's just amazing because without a doubt, they're super intelligent, and they're 1,000 times more intelligent and technologically advanced than what we are. So their influence over us, if they were actually mainstreamed throughout the public, they would have a huge impact, I think, on civilization as we know it.
Yeah, definitely. They might have a high impact on our civilization. We don't know it. You know?
Yeah, because I've even heard from alien abductees. Some people have been told by gray aliens that, like, we've been through like so many wars throughout human history. They've actually had intergalactic wars, I guess, supposedly, and there's several different alien races that interact with each other.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of abductees say.
Now, people in the chat room are asking us, what's our opinion on black holes? Do you think these things lead to other universes?
You see, I do believe that. I believe they could not only link us to other universes, but to other solar systems and different. See, me personally, I believe they could possibly. Like I've seen History Channel shows and just other shows that say that if you have the right kind of technology, you might just be able to use them to actually travel through time and travel to other places.
Yes, I've heard of that.
That's why I do believe that they might even use these to travel interdimension, or if they're interdimensional creatures, they could travel that way, or they could travel through just light years that way. Yeah, that's a good point, because I've always believed that my whole life.
Yes, they could lead to different dimensions, and the most commonly, though, scientific theory is that they just simply are bends in this space-time continuum, and they suck anything into them and stretch them out so far into an infinite strand of mass. It's incomprehensible.
Now, I don't mean to interrupt you guys here, but we're gonna take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna switch topics here. So, anyways, guys, stay on the line. In just a minute, we're gonna switch to random talk. All right.
New Meow Mix from Purina.
We're back, guys, and we'll elaborate more on the recap on our opinions on UFOs and black holes. But as for now, I thought that it would be a good idea to bring up the fact of living dragons. Like, what's our opinions on those? Well, I'll go first since it's my idea here. Well,
go ahead, Junior. Shoot for it.
I think, personally, that there is some kind of dragon alive. I don't know if it's alive now, but I know it was at one time. Because why would the Europeans and everybody else on every other continent report similar-looking creatures if they're so far apart and there was no kind of communication back then? Like, on that wide of scale, anyways. I don't know. There's the Mokele and Bembe and other dinosaurs that are seen nowadays. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know what you guys think, but I think maybe it's living dinosaurs.
It could be.
Pretty stumped here myself. Because they actually did find Swiss journal. This thing was on the Animal Planet about a year or two ago. They did find a guy's journal that said that they were dragon hunting, and archaeologists did come across this burial ground of some guy that supposedly was killed by one of these.
Yes, I believe I heard that. I seen that show and heard that story.
We have somebody called Sidekick 2008 on the line. And caller, you're on the line. Hello? Sidekick? Never mind, they hung up. Anyways. What's your opinion on living dragons here, Nick?
I believe that they did exist as well. I mean, like you pointed out, that all the legends on all 6 of the 7 continents all have dragons in them, and I mean, they all look pretty much the same. Why would they be so close? And
well, you also gotta take the facts here, because even on our forums, we found evidence before that people have sent us that there was dinosaurs and humans walk the earth together. Because even in Utah, they have human footprints, and not even 10 yards away, there's dinosaur footprints, and they're both within probably 10 or 20 years of each other. And also, there has been human remains found alongside dinosaurs for a long time. Sidekick 2008's calling back, and you're on the line. Sidekick? Anyways. What do you guys think of that burial that they found?
Truthfully, I'm pretty ignorant on that subject, so I can't comment so much on that. But I've heard of it briefly. And
Oops, Sidekick 2008's calling back again. You're on the air.
Hi, you fucking crackers. How's it going?
Oops, and we don't take prank calls. And for your information, you're being turned into Blog Talk Radio, and they will turn you into the police for trying to prank call us.
And say his number out loud, so we can spam it all over Google and everything.
But anyways,
spam his number.
He doesn't have a phone number. It's Sidekick 2008.
It doesn't come up on the air.
All right,
yeah.
Tim.
What's
I have
up,
a question for you.
Okay.
What is your opinion on the crystal skulls?
You see, I don't know. They're really mysterious. Like, I don't know. They could, like, again, they could possibly relate to aliens, or because some people believe, like, if you believe in the Atlanteans and all that, like, that they were spread all throughout the earth they contain knowledge of human history and the future.
Yes.
See, I'm not too into it, but I know briefly about it.
Yeah, there's 7 of them, am I correct? Or
6 or 7, I believe.
7, 1 for each continent. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
No, 7. 7's a nice little number. It's used in the Bible a lot, too. 7 has somewhat of a significance. It's a lucky number. Biblical numbers, 7 continents, 7 seas.
I'm looking at a picture right now of some crop circles in Britain, and I was wondering, what do you guys think of those for the callers out there? Just throw out some opinions here.
What do I think of the crop circles in London or England?
No, like just like some general opinions on different stuff.
On crops or anything, really. Anyone has anything they want to bring up, feel free to call. Jeremy, what's the number?
The phone number to call in is 914 area code 803-4053. And I don't know, ever since they started talking about how to make fake crop circles, almost 90% of them are fake now.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get the legitimate 10%, which are just unexplainable, because you get videotapes of lights actually forming these things and, like, flying off.
Well, there's theories that say they think it's where a spaceship landed. Whoops.
Well,
we have a caller from 619 area code on the line. Draw in the ear.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
You guys believe in UFOs?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You guys must be fucking stupid. Get a fucking line.
Again,
Again, Mr. 619-948-8457.
That's all right. We'll have it all over Google later, so.
No.
No,
I'm telling you guys, if we turn you guys into Blog Talk Radio, the police get involved, and you guys could get a big ticket for that.
Yeah, because it's pretty much like public radio, so.
Yeah, spam is not appreciated, and just to kindly let you know, sir, you say we need a life. Well, it is almost 1:45 in the morning, and you have nothing better to do than call a internet radio show. You need a life, sir. I don't think we need a life. I think you need one.
And obviously, our show's interesting enough for you to be listening to us to begin with. Because you would have had to have gone onto the radio website or onto one of our websites to get this website, to get this phone number to call in.
So, thank you, kind sir, for at least paying us attention.
Anyways,
let's go back to what we were talking about.
Crop circles.
Crop circles.
Well, there's been people who have said that they've seen these spaceships land and make these things, but there's also video footage out there of these weird balls of light that come through the fields and actually make these formations. The most famous one was over in Britain, actually, back in the 90s. They had jets and helicopters chasing after them.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorite footages of all time.
Yes, and there is things that happen in some crop circles, like to take radiation tests from the soil, and they find out that there's a higher level of radiation in the soil. Am I correct, Tim?
Yeah, like sometimes it'll be up to like 100 times what the other like amounts are in the soil, like a couple feet away.
So I pose this question: how could a hoaxer get their hands on that much uranium or other nuclear material?
You see, it's impossible.
Exactly, and then they do tests on the stalks of the plants that the crop circles are located in, strange things will happen to the molecules within the plants, to my knowledge.
Exactly.
Like the molecules will be rearranged, or they'll take on some vastly different shape than what they originally were. I mean, how could you explain something at the cellular level?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hoaxer did that.
A hoaxer can do that, sure.
I heard that that Sasquatch hair is supposedly sent into Art Bell is being analyzed now. I don't know what the results are, but I know supposedly a farmer took it off his barbed wire fence after he seen it cross over the night before.
Wow.
I think it might even be the Honey Island swamp monster. I'm not really sure. Not really sure of the location, but it's always worth a shot.
But back on the UFO topic, I've seen dozens of UFOs in my life, and I know they exist. And for all the skeptics out there that say they're experimental aircraft, I don't think human technology would be able to not only go some of the speeds I've seen some of these things do, but they just stop. Like they'll go so fast and just stop and go straight in the air until you can't see them anymore.
Yeah.
Like we have nothing in our arsenal that could even remotely do that. Even if skeptical Blade will say it's a Harrier jet. A Harrier jet can't go from Mach whatever to a stop without the pilots experiencing a red out or a blackout.
Yes, definitely.
So there's just no there's nothing that could describe it. Like obviously you go to Area 51, you see UFOs there. That's obviously experimental aircraft.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes we'll be in the middle of a desert, hundreds of miles from any town at all, and we'll see them. Like, what are the chances that the government's going to be flying something that's in public space like that?
Exactly. I mean, really, what's the chances? But Tim,
Hmm.
With all this overwhelming evidence and pouring out, why do people still continue to be skeptics?
Well, it's partially over the years. People explain they have the military ruling, which I do believe a lot of sightings can be explained with the military, but not all of them.
Yes. And
not the weird shapes of some of these things too.
Yeah. The human mind cannot comprehend it doesn't want to try to comprehend the unknown. People are scared of the unknown and things they cannot rationalize.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the thoughts of a superior race, superior species to our own that could travel through the universe and to, a heartbeat. Scary. I'll admit. It's definitely something to be respected.
I know I've personally seen a UFO up close, and it was pretty trippy. I'll tell the story for people who haven't heard. It was back in the early 2000s. I was actually on a hiking trip with some of my buddies, and we were taking a night hike in this place called Bigfoots Pad, Nevada. It's over in between Las Vegas and the town of Pahrump, which is over the hill. And me and my mom were actually in the back, and all my friends were up front, and we were probably, I'd say, a good 5 or 10 minutes back behind them. And anyways, so after we go around this one bend, we shine our flashlight, because we didn't have our flashlights on initially, but we seen this glowing object in the forest, so we shined our flashlights onto this object, and there was an object. It was teardrop-shaped. It looked kind of like the end of a boat was sticking out of the forest, I would say. And I seen 3 little stilt-like leg things that was standing on. They had circular tubes on the bottom. There was no lights on it, no windows that I seen, but it looked liquidy, almost as if it was wet. There was a lake nearby, but when we checked back in the morning at the same exact spot, there was nothing, just pine cones laying there. There was no tracks from the saying nothing. But we know it was there because we went up the trail and back down, probably about an hour or 2, and it was still there. So I don't know what it was, but our forums have actually drawn pictures of this thing and everything.
not just that, didn't you, like, even later in that night, didn't you see, like, weird UFOs in the sky, too?
Yeah, we did. We seen UFOs in the sky for the next 2 or 3 days we were there.
Wow.
I don't know, and UFOs are attracted to thick forests and lakes.
Yes.
Or large bodies of water for the most part, and I find it ironic.
Such as Catalina Island off the coast of California.
Catalina Island is infamous for UFOs. Like, they have the infamous footage where it goes in and outside of that one mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, they said the water channels nearby actually, UFOs fly into these and become USOs, where they actually could go underwater.
Yes. Unidentified submerged objects. Yes.
Yeah, and since the 1960s, there's actually been sometimes the Navy monitors these, and they've been known to stay there as long as like a month or two, and they just decide to like randomly leave one day. So they're obviously controlled by some kind of intelligent beings or something.
Yes, definitely. That is the facts.
So you'll accept more callers, Jared, and hopefully no more pranks too.
Yeah, if you guys want to call in, we have 12 minutes left in the show. The call-in number is 914 area code 803-4053.
And again, make it a serious call. Don't prank us, because we will report you to Blog Talk Radio, and the police can and will be involved with it.
And I will freely on my own spam your number all over the internet.
But on another note, well, did you want to share on the...
Well, I have a UFO story, if you don't mind me.
Yeah, go ahead.
One time when I was around 9 years old, I was looking out into the sky, just looking at the stars, and then I seen this star zip across the sky. And I thought it was a shooting star until it stopped. And then it shot back across the sky in the opposite direction. And then it started making all these irregular movements going across the sky. And then it just disappeared out of the sky completely.
Yeah, I've had similar experiences to that. Like, I must have seen dozens. And you could tell these apart from, like, the first thing I always notice, since I'm kind of skilled at monitoring this kind of stuff, regular aircraft, you could always notice the blinking lights, red and blue or red and white, like, the warning lights on the airplanes in most aircraft. But, like, these things usually don't. They're either one solid color or they may have several different colors on it, but they don't flash or anything.
No.
They have the erratic movement.
Jeremy. Didn't you, yes, you did get some photographs walking home from work one night of a single light that transformed into about 5 or 6 more lights. And how about you let us know about that?
Yeah, actually, one day I was actually on my way home from work, and I seen a single light on top of the mountain. And I'd say I watched probably for about 10 or 15 minutes, and whatever this object was, it started changing shapes. One light turned into probably about 5 lights, and then it was in a triangular pattern, and this thing was, I'd say, I followed it probably about 10 minutes. But whatever it was, it kept breaking up and coming apart, and then to come back as one. I don't know what that means, but I know fleets of UFOs like that are reported often.
I was just saying, if anyone wants to look further into that story, there is some evidence to back that up. The pictures taken of these anomalies are on our website, freewebs.com/BFP-team in the case pictures section, if you want.
If I could add one thing in there, Nick.
Yeah, sure.
I've actually had the most bizarre UFO case and sighting I've ever seen in my entire life about a year ago. And it was actually right in my own home here. I see on the news one night, they said there's a strange light above Las Vegas for the entire night, and they said there's a huge eyewitness reports of the thing. So, me being the amateur I am, I just went outside to take a look, and sure enough, I seen something that way out of the ordinary. It looked like the color of the sun in the middle of the night. But the thing looked like it was the size of a diesel truck, maybe no more than a mile away from my house. And I watched it for a minute, and it was doing erratic movements again that go in speed. Like, it would go zoom to the left, zoom to the right in, like, a matter of seconds, which is virtually impossible to do. So then I ran upstairs and grabbed my camera, and this thing began to shapeshift into triangular to round to spiral, and this thing was just amazing. It continued to shapeshift for me. I watched it for probably 5 minutes, and it eventually just shot off across the sky at speeds I've never seen anything go in my life. And once again, these are on our website if you want to see them. Like, freeweb.com/BFP team. Go ahead, Drew.
Oh, no, I was just saying we have 8 minutes left in the show, and we have listener-requested people. They're asking us to do 2 shows tomorrow, an additional one at night. I think we could do that. I think we could make a special show.
Yes, definitely. I think that would be a great idea. You know, our listeners are the most important thing to us, and what the people want, the people get.
I'd say we'll do. I say we could do. We'll do a show at 1 p.m. Then we'll do one probably 11 p.m.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm up for it.
And you want to pitch the show for tomorrow, Nick? Let the listeners know what's going on tomorrow. The 1 o'clock.
Oh, tomorrow we will be having a show about mysterious places such as Stonehenge, the Egyptian pyramids, the Mayan pyramids and temples, just different sites within the world that hold some mysterious meaning to them, and we can discuss, you know, what do they mean, who put them there, you know, what purpose did they serve, you know, things like that. And we have a caller on the line. You are on the air. Hello? Caller? Caller?
Okay, I guess we're having difficulties.
Sounds like it.
Technical difficulties. Got a few of those tonight. But yes, tomorrow's show will be at 1 p.m. will be about mysterious places, and please feel free to tune into that and call with your ideas and commentary.
Yeah,
and
the one
whatever you wish to say.
The one tomorrow night, we'll think of a topic sometime throughout the day tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any questions or comments, you could call us before the show ends. We have about 5 minutes left. 914 area code 803-4053. We also have some websites. Our main website is freewebs.com/BFP team. And our forums, if you guys want to write us a message, it's bfpteam.yuku.com. And we had a pretty good show tonight, guys.
Yes, it was
pretty interesting.
It was interesting. King Gray had a lot of his expertise in the UFO field to tell us about.
I know tomorrow's show, like we said, it's going to be a lot like today's. And tomorrow we're probably going to have one of our co-hosts, Little One, on the phone tomorrow. Maybe Abe. But it'll be a pretty good show. You won't want to miss that one.
Definitely not.
And we're going to leave you guys with the song. And I'd like to thank everybody for listening tonight.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
And thank you. I'll hear from you guys tomorrow at 1.
Boy, Ren, if you think you're happy now, wait till you hear this. It's a record of my favorite song. It's called Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your old pal, Stinky Whizzleteeth. This is a song about a whale. No! This is a song about being happy. That's right. It's the Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy song. Happy, happy, joy, joy. 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 Happy, happy, joy, joy, joy. I don't think you're happy enough. That's right. I'll teach you to be happy. I'll teach your grandmother to suck eggs. Now, boys and girls, let's try it again. Happy, happy, joy, joy. 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 Happy, happy, joy, joy, joy. If and you ain't the granddaddy of all liars, the little critters of nature, they don't know that they're ugly. That's very funny. A fly marrying a bumblebee. I told you I'd shoot, but you didn't believe me. Why didn't you believe me? Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, 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 happy.